Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to Regina and Friends Crime Chat. I'm your host, Regina, and here with me today we have Sammy. And I guess we're just going to kind of let some people get in here. But today we're going to be talking about the which, by the way, in my opinion, Sammy, I know you've seen part of it. I thought it was a great interview that allegedly with Brittany did with Seth. What do you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was informational and I liked that Seth was open and honest with Brittany. Was really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. My opinion is with his behavior in the interview and how he acted. I think. Hold on a second. Have echo. There we go. Sorry. Um, I thought he was. I don't think it was an act. I think it was genuine. You could hear pain in his voice. Sadly, whenever he spoke. Um, Personally, I heard it. I felt it. Um, so either that man is the most deserving award-winning actor I have ever met in my life, or that man is going through, and it hurts him, and you can tell. I think that he genuinely feels pain with everything that's going on. But if you guys would
Absolutely.
like, if you guys would like the link to the video that we're going to be going over today, the interview, I give full credit to allegedly with Brittany J for that. And I have put the link in the description of this video for you guys so y'all can go over there and watch the full interview. I don't know that we're going to woohoo. Hey Lisa, Halo 12, hey Connie, it's good to see you guys. Hello. And congratulations on Connie for becoming a new moderator. Hello and welcome. We appreciate
Congratulations, Connie.
it. Yay! Look at that ridge. It looks good on you, Connie. Blue's a good color for you. Oh, look who just showed up, you guys. We have Eddie, all things serious. Woohoo! Check it out. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
You know, good Lord woke
Hi,
me up this
Eddie.
morning. Can't complain about anything.
I'm just here to, if I got anything to say about the situation, I'll share my input.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Eddie, have you gotten a chance to see this interview that Brittany, allegedly with Brittany J did with Seth Rogers?
I got to see some of it, not all of it.
Got to see some of it.
Yeah, it was emotional.
It was very emotional, wasn't it? Um, can I ask you something in your own personal opinion? Because I know you deal with people going through, some of the hardest times in their lives, and you're good. You. That's who you are. You're such a good friend. Like you help everyone you know with their mental health whenever things can affect them for the good or the bad. I mean, you're just a good friend, and you help us identify with ourselves better what we're going through and stuff. Um, and as far as you can tell, this is. I'm so glad you're on the panel because this is what I want to ask you. Do you think after everything you've seen with people going through something in their life, do you think that Seth Rogers is portraying real emotion?
He is. The only situation I have, okay, with what's going on with Seth is he's out there way too much, to be honest.
Right, right.
Okay. I
Yeah.
understand the emotions he's going through, but he's out there way too much and he's giving too much ammo to people to go after him.
Right, right. Because
If I could say something to him,
absolutely.
is if Seth is listening, I don't understand what you're going through because I've never been there, but the thing is there's people that have been there. Listen to them. Listen to those people. Don't let other people get into your head and rent space.
Oh, that is such good
Ditto.
advice.
Yep.
That is such good advice.
Yep. Every time he does an interview or he talks online, it like opens a window for attack for him. It's what I see happening every time.
Yep. Yep. And not only that, but I mean, let's face it, whenever you're going through something like this and you have no answers, I don't find it alarming that Seth Rogers is pointing fingers. Do you know why? Because if I were a parent outside of the home and the other parent were home and I wasn't living in that household and my child disappeared and that parent were the last person to see them alive and I was not there and did not know what was going on, I would not be able to not question the other parent.
Right.
I mean, let's be real about it. You weren't there. Seth wasn't there. He didn't he was at work. We know that's on film, that's on camera. So he doesn't know what happened. And whenever you don't know what happened, what do you do as a human being? Eddie, what do you tend to do whenever you don't know something?
Question.
Question everything, right?
Question. You got to question everything.
Right.
That's my opinion. I would question everything, but
You
it's
have
on,
to until there starts to be answers. Yeah.
but it's all in how you ask the questions. Also,
Right. I
you
agree with that
know,
too.
and sometimes asking those difficult questions, they can be straining on you mentally because you're not getting answers.
Absolutely.
But it's the energy that you put around you and involve around you can also corrupt you too at the same time, involving yourself with certain people.
Yes. Absolutely. And part of the reason is because do you think maybe at that time we're vulnerable and maybe
Yes,
we
very
haven't been
vulnerable.
through this kind of situation and we don't know what we're doing?
You come when you're going through it. It doesn't matter if it's a missing child or a loss of a loved one. You are very vulnerable in any situation. So he's very vulnerable.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I know I don't know what I would do. I don't know who I would reach out to. I don't know who I would turn to. I don't know where I could find um peace with my child missing either. And I could only imagine you don't want to be alone going through something like that. I wouldn't want to go through that alone. And I kind of can't help but wonder if maybe Seth, you know, wasn't that person that still cared or whatever, and maybe he just never got over some things. I don't know that. I don't know that man. I can't speak on his behalf.
Nope.
But I know if I had, been single and already, because he works 12 hours, or whatever, I know that I would be lonely in my life already, and that would make me even more vulnerable. When you're alone before you go into something like this, would you agree, Eddie, that you're even more vulnerable whenever you're in the throes of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, especially when you don't have anybody to turn to at that moment. In some cases, you tend to turn to the wrong people. In
Right,
some cases, and in other cases, not so much. In my opinion, I don't think he has anybody to turn to.
right. I mean, from what we've seen with the bickering and the fighting between the Proudfoots and between Seth, the Proudfoots won't talk to Seth. So that already in itself, the family not coming together during this time of crisis in itself, it even adds to the stress of the situation. Wouldn't what do you think about that?
One thing I've always learned is communication is key. And
Absolutely.
there's a lack of communication. If anything, it's heated at times. Instead of going back and forth at each other, they should be working together as a team.
I
That's
agree.
not what I see right now.
I think Seth is very limited as far as his circle of people that he has to turn to, and that makes for a very complicated situation here. And his vulnerabilities are just way out there because of his, lack of people that he can trust within his circle. So I totally
Right.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Eddie, if you don't mind, because I value your opinion so much, and because I know you do deal with a lot of people on a lot of different levels, and a lot of them are going through um, emotional times in their lives, and because we all have, our mental health needs, and you help us a lot to work through things. By the way, you guys, if you haven't already gone and subscribed to All Things Serious channel, here's the link. I will star that and hopefully it will pin it to the top so you guys have it. Also, the interview that we're fixing to go over, all credit goes to Allegedly with Brittany J. She did a wonderful job in this interview. You guys go over there and check out her channel. I personally am a member over there. Um, I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep to Brittany at night because she's always, doing them late night shows and stuff. And I think she's a really sweet person. She really is. Um, and I know she cares. I know she cares about these people and these stories. So go over there. The link is in the description below. And remember to subscribe up to her channel for me, and also All Things Serious, which is a very dear friend of mine who I'm blessed to know, him and Lisa, and all of the All Things Serious crew, uh, Rogue Knox, um, eh, um, Sweet and Sassy,
Sweet and
all of them.
sleuthy, sweet and
Sweet and
sleuthy.
sleuthy, sweet and sleuthy. Yeah, sweet and sleuthy.
Yes.
Hey, and Jazz, it's good to see you. And Jazz is one of my friends. Um, she is a moderator for the Reporter Room, which I have been a member of forever. I love Jessica Della Davies. Also, you guys go over there and give her a thumbs up. Um, in my opinion, okay, I haven't covered a lot of the Brian Koberger case, but I can tell you guys that tit for tat, hands down, she has done the best coverage of Idaho 4. She does it fact based. She goes over it tit for tat. She does a wonderful job. So you guys go over there and check that out. And that's Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davis. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Back to where we were. Eddie, do you think that with how you've dealt with people that are going through drama, do you think it is odd or out of place for Chris Proudfoot to have not been at that house and 100% corroborate everything Katie says and even speak to her and speak for her? I mean,
See, that's from day one. That is what's got me. Okay. He wasn't there. He's hardly there. He's even said he's hardly at the house.
mhm,
So if you're hardly there and you weren't there, how can you speak for somebody that if you weren't around? That's what has always confused me. He speaks for her like he was there. I'm like, if you
yep,
weren't there, you can't speak on her behalf. She was there. All those
right.
questions that people are asking, she should be the one answering.
Absolutely. I
It's like
completely agree.
it's like he's acting like he's her lawyer.
Yep. You really. And he said it. in the Web Sleuths interview, he said these exact words: "I am a man who protects his wife." I think that they have all told us exactly who they are and what they're doing. And the thing is, whenever you speak of a child that is missing, if I don't if I don't see you begging for your child back, if I don't see emotion out of you, if I don't see you immediately the morning you wake up and they're not in bed, going to every news station and pounding their doors down and all your neighbors' doors and searching for your child, at least for the first day. I mean, my goodness. My goodness.
Now, I will tell you this.
I have
I
to
do
speculate something's wrong. Go ahead, Eddie. Sorry.
I do agree with what Lisa had to say. They should never be going at each other's throats, the parents. I do agree with that statement. Okay. In order to work together, you got to work together. But it first started going at each other. In the beginning, they started going at each other, going back and forth, instead of
Right.
trying to come together as a team when it was already too late. It was already a mess.
Well, see, that's something else I'm glad you brought up that I'd like to touch on. We're only seeing one thing added to the equation that could be a stressor on any of these people. Like these animosities and this dislike for each other is not something that suddenly appeared when Sebastian went missing. What do you
I
think
think
about
it's
that?
been there for a while. I think there has been an issue, in my opinion. But from what I've seen and heard, I think there has been an ongoing conflict within that group for a while.
Right.
I agree.
I
Okay.
agree too.
I don't know what conflict to pinpoint it on, but the thing is to publicly air it out is not good either.
I completely agree.
Okay. You know, when Sebastian went missing, they should have grouped up together as a team and went looking for him and posted flyers and reaching out to news networks and working together as a family. And that's what they did not do. They did the total opposite.
Do you
And that's my
who
opinion.
which of the two do you think plays the bigger role in not working with the other, in your opinion, from what you've seen? Just from what
Chris and Seth.
Right,
Chris and Seth, they can't get along.
right. I agree with that.
I'm putting it out there. That's my opinion. I keep clarifying this is my opinion. I'm not speaking facts, but from what I see on the outside looking in, Chris and Seth can't get along and they can't put their differences aside for Sebastian's sake. And it's making everybody look bad. And it's taking away from looking for Sebastian.
Absolutely. And what do you think about the YouTuber element that's been brought into it? Like, what do you think about the content creators getting involved in these actual cases and then siding with one parent or the other, or speaking out against one parent or the other, with all of this going down? Do you think that it has created a circus that has lost Sebastian in all of it?
Yes, I think, okay, so my opinion, going after either Chris Proudfoot or going after Seth is not looking for Sebastian. It's not doing Sebastian justice. When you
Right.
target one or the other, it's not healthy. It's not getting the job done. The job,
Can I
go ahead.
can I ask you something about that real quick about, coming together to search for Sebastian? Do you think that maybe Seth Rogers' problem with the Proudfoots is like the reason he's lashing out against them is because he doesn't see them looking for Sebastian? Do you think that adds to his stress and him feeling like maybe he's
That would
carrying all the weight?
destroy me. Yes, it would destroy me on the inside.
Right.
You know, and probably would I lash out? Yes, but I don't think I would lash out. Actually, I can't
Publicly.
say that. I don't know how I would get upset.
Right. Me either.
But
I
the thing
mean,
is
I
I
know
would
I would.
say my piece and move forward.
Right. Right.
You know, I would say my piece once. I would not repeat it over again.
And I'm hoping to be very, very honest with you, Eddie. I'm hoping that that is what this interview with Seth is. Brittany, the one that Brittany did that we're fixing to go over. I'm hoping that Seth has said his piece because I got to admit, there's validation to be lended on a few levels of what that man said last night. A few levels.
Can I say something on the YouTubers getting involved here?
Yeah, absolutely, Sammy.
I
You're on
just want to
camera.
say
Go right
hi to
ahead.
everybody. I see you all in there. um, I just want to say, as YouTubers and to all YouTubers or anyone on social media, if you're getting involved in this and you're not helping, guess what? You're hurting. It's wasted time and resources on you when you're not helping.
Right. And there are actual things people could be doing to help. You guys, y'all could be calling the district attorney because I know everyone says, oh, the FBI is already involved. Correct to a degree. But the FBI is only involved to the extent that the resources that they have been outsourced for, that is what they have. Until this case is completely handed over to the FBI and it is given everything a look over by all law enforcement case files, I really don't feel like there's going to be a conclusion in this case until it is handed over. And I find it highly alarming. I find it highly alarming that the DA, after 100 days, more than 100 days of Sebastian Rogers being missing, has not handed this case over to the FBI. And one thing that all of us can do is, you know what? Seth Rogers wants to know what happened to his son. And I believe that because that man wants to get everyone possible involved looking for him. He has begged for this case to be handed over to the FBI. And I say, if that man wants this case handed over to the FBI, he is Sebastian's father and he has every right to request that. And I think that after 100 days of his endangered autistic son being missing, personally, the DA owes that to him. Do you think that if the DA's son was missing and he had nothing to do with it, that he
Well,
wouldn't have already called in the FBI?
they would have more than the FBI involved.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm saying that Sebastian Rogers deserves the same amount of attention.
Yep.
I would want that for my child. I think all of us as parents can come together and agree on that one thing that if our child were missing and we did not know where they were, I think all of us can come together and say that we would want everyone possible looking for our son or our child, son or daughter. All of us would. If we could call in every reinforcement ourselves, personally, we would do it as a parent. And I think that since we pay for our government to have the resources to do these things, I think that we should be able to utilize them as parents and as members of society. So, one way that anyone can help with the Sebastian Rogers case and actually make an impact is to call the district attorney and ask him why he won't hand this case over to the FBI. Voice your complaints. Another thing you can do, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is 15 years old. He's a white autistic boy. He has brown hair, brown eyes. He's 5'5", weighs 120 pounds. He is missing from his home in Tennessee. If you have any information about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, please call 1-615-451-3838 TBI. Thank you so much, Slow 12, for posting that. So, the reason I think that Seth Rogers had nothing to do with his son's disappearance is simply because of the fact that he wants to get the FBI involved in his son's disappearance. And it would have to be now, I know there have been some really stupid, dumb things done in the past by a lot of different people, but it would be his biggest mistake if he did have something to do with Sebastian going missing and we come together and help him get the FBI involved. Okay. Or that man had nothing to do with his son disappearing, and getting the FBI involved will help clear things up. Those are the ways to help Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what everyone's calling fact, what everyone's talking about, whenever we hear these parents speak, while I personally do believe Seth Rogers, when we hear these parents speak, we have to know that they're coming from a place of hurt, and some of them in a place of anger, some of them in a place of malice, some of them in a place of ill will, and some with a heart that is not. Okay. Everyone, they're all going through different emotions. And this is not anything that has been put on paper and is a fact in this case, except for the fact that it is a respective statement by the said party. That is it. That is it. They are not facts. It is a fact that it was said. It is not a fact until there is evidence and receipt of it. But with that said, I do believe Seth Rogers whenever he speaks, and I don't know why, but it grips me to the core. I feel that he misses his son, and the truth is, I find it alarming that Chris Proudfoot wasn't home, knows everything in the case, and speaks for Katie most of the time. And Katie didn't look for Sebastian, but what, 10 minutes? Just saying, it's alarming to me. And I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but in my opinion, those are suspicious circumstances. Eddie, what do you think about it?
Well, okay. So if my child were to go missing, the first thing I'm doing is calling the emergency 911. That's the first thing I'm doing. I'm not
Absolutely.
calling anybody else. I'm not three-way calling because that's time wasted. That's time wasted. When you're calling somebody else and then they're calling what, the non-emergency number, I'm calling 911. My son is missing. Plain and simple. I've never understood that concept. Call Chris instead of calling 911. I've never understood that. To this day, I've never understood that. So I'm that's
I feel like that misdirected call, like, not calling 911 was to for someone to have more control over how this played out. That's my opinion.
Okay. Something else I want to ask, Sammy. I want to see if you have first. Have you seen these YouTubers that Seth is fixing to talk about in this interview? Have you seen the content that they're putting out about Seth Rogers?
Very little, but I have.
But you have. And just in your own personal opinion, if you were someone seeing content like this put out about you, and if you knew that people were making statements that were not only false but they couldn't back up, would you ask them to stop in the most legal way possible before you took action against them?
Yes, I would seek legal counsel, and yeah, I would put out a cease and desist order. He shouldn't have to do this. He's trying to find his son, and some of these YouTubers are behaving disgracefully, in my opinion. And this is not something that he should be having to deal with, period. But anyhow,
Right.
yeah, yep,
All right.
I agree. I would.
Well, really, I don't think this is anything that any of these parents should be having to deal with because, to be quite honest, in my opinion, none of these parents should be on YouTube
Right.
except for just say, my son is missing. This is him. He's wonderful. If you have him, please give him back. I need my child. If y'all
That's
have seen my child,
I think that's what I would use the social media for, to plead
that's what I would.
for my child back. Yeah.
Yes, every opportunity is a child is an opportunity to speak well of your child and an opportunity to maybe get to someone's heart if they did take your child. You see what I'm saying?
yep. I totally agree.
So I think that a bunch of drama got started. I think that people, no matter which way you look at it, people that were invested in this case that are no longer on this case, um, I think whether we want to admit it or not, it was an opportunity to make a career off of this case. So they all had a stake in it, all of them. Whether we like to admit it or not, they did. I know there's a lot of he said, she said with all of the YouTubers back and forth about this case. But tonight, because I've already showed Proudfoot interviews, I've already picked stuff apart and done this and that and the other with them. But this time, there is an interview by Seth that I would like to play for us all. So if that's okay with you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this started.
All right. I just want to state real quick, I am in no way putting down any of the parents for having gone to social media, because it is the way that we all communicate these days. Um, I just I think that it's worth giving them a voice if and when they need it.
I do agree with that, Sammy. I do agree with giving them a voice. But at the same time, there comes a time whenever you are the person that is putting yourself in these circumstances with these parents and not even telling them that you're a YouTuber when you're going and doing these searches. And this is something that just happened. You go according to Seth, when you're a YouTuber and you go to and you do true crime and you go to allegedly search for this person and then you don't tell that family member that you are someone that is going to be reporting on this case, I think that is unprofessional to say the least
Well,
and
it's
possibly
dishonest.
criminal at best.
Dishonest.
But that's my own opinion. There are some people that are like, no, that YouTuber didn't have to tell him that she was, a YouTuber. But I would have, if I would have been covering the case, I would have told him, look, I'm going to be on, I'm a YouTuber. This is what I do. And I sure wouldn't, and this is a different YouTuber, I sure wouldn't call the grieving family member of someone who is missing, that is grieving themselves, and put them on display for the whole world to see on my YouTube channel, um, and try to spin a story out of it. You know what I mean? Whenever it's not even involving his missing son. So, but we're gonna go ahead and get into the interview, guys, real quick. So let's do this. And again, all credit goes to Allegedly with Brittany J. You did a wonderful job in this interview, girl. You know you did. Props to you. All right, here we go. Nope.
because
Okay.
it's 11 o'clock at night.
Let's get to the very beginning. Okay. So you can see that it's
All
listed
right,
as
listen, I promise you here, no one's going to
I'm
disrespect
just gonna
you.
make this
Oh, come on now. Don't do
quick
that.
because
Okay.
it's 11 o'clock at night. I've been busy all day.
Okay.
And I got an early morning. I've got searchers coming in again next week. Got places to go. Got to get what little sleep I can.
I understand.
I sent out cease and desist. These people are nasty,
Oh, they are.
and no parent of a missing child should ever have to sit there and listen to the people slander him and I've listened to people call my son a sexual offender. I've listened to people call me one.
Yep.
All right. I didn't have any relations with Sebastian's mother until she was way after the age of 18.
Thank
People
you.
Do y'all know what he's talking about? Do y'all know what
I do.
creators?
Well,
You do.
maybe not the creators exactly, but I do understand where that's coming out of. Yeah.
Yep. I've heard it. I've heard creators say it. Other creators. Yep. I would be upset too if someone was saying that about my missing child. I cannot fault this man for being mad about that. I think that to fault him for being mad about it would make me a fool because I would probably be pretty upset about it myself if it were said my child were missing and I wanted my child back. And yeah,
need to get off their high horse
Agreed.
because I'll tell you right now, I don't have to do anything and God will knock you down. But I sent cease and desist to make sure that there is proof in the legal system that I am not connected to these people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way, I'm not sitting there and they can sit there and say whatever they want. Defamation is pretty easy when someone's sitting there for 6 hours on a live panel, letting people talk massive amounts of crap about me and accuse me of everything from putting a nail into Jesus Christ on a cross or pushing the red button for Biden. You know,
Yeah.
you say what.
okay. Let me pause it right there, Eddie, because I want to pose a question to you. Do you know what's going on and what he's talking about? Are you privy to the information that's been going around YouTube and what alleged content creators have been doing to him, this, that, or the other?
To a certain extent, I have an idea. I'm not going to say what has been said,
Right.
but there are speculations and accusations against him that I believe are false.
Mm-hmm.
But I have an idea on where this is going.
Right.
I don't name drop because that's not my place.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that here.
But I have an idea.
Yep. Yep. Can I ask you, in that aspect, do you think that he is overreacting being angry about it, or do you think that he is pretty even keel considering everything if they are false allegations and things being said by people?
Well, if people were spreading false allegations about me, I'd be pretty pissed off.
And do you think that
So
a cease and desist letter is a mature way of handling that, or would you say it's probably wrong?
If people keep defaming me and saying things that are false, I would do the same thing. So because they're no longer making it about Sebastian, now they're making it all about me and they're personally attacking me for things that are untrue. Oh, I would do the same thing.
Right. Right. I think I can't help but say I would be mad and upset too, and I might, lash out myself. I mean, I'm not perfect. God knows I try to be calm and I try to be kind and compassionate, but I don't know what my level would be that I would lash out. You know what I mean? Thank God I've never had to. but I've never had a missing child either. And I kind of get it. There is no playbook. Like, no one hands you a magic book and tells you everything to do when your child's missing. Except for literally, they say if your child goes missing, call 911. That's in a playbook. That's in a playbook. Hmm. I better shut up already. I better shut my mouth, as Queen would tell me. I like Queen. The Volt XL. I like her. She makes people critical think too. I enjoy her
Yeah.
content. So so far, Eddie, with what's going on with Seth and what he said so far in the interview, what do you think? What do you think about his reacting and the way he's reacting to all of this going on? And do you think that it is on par where he should be, or do you think maybe it's off kilter a little bit? And then, Sammy, I'd like to pose the same question to you.
I wouldn't have brought up the red button comment,
Right.
but I can understand emotionally where he's at right now. I can,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but there are certain things that was said publicly that should have never been said publicly, in my opinion. There's
Mm-hmm.
quite a few things that were said publicly on both sides that should have never been said publicly
I agree with that.
because it went from being about Sebastian to personal attacks on each other. So that took away from finding Sebastian. Now we got CP everywhere personally attacking him. And then we got Seth over here personally attacking him. So it's
Mm-hmm.
no longer about finding Sebastian. It's about, defending who, defending what. That's my opinion.
Sammy, what about you?
Pose that question one more time so I make sure I'm answering your question.
Do
Sorry.
you think do you think given the current circumstance that Seth Rogers is acting out appropriately compared to what's going on? And do you do you think it's appropriate? Do you think he's overreacting? Do you think he's underreacting? Do you think he's
Well, I
acting
think so
mature
far,
about it considering the circumstance, or what do you think? Do you think
well,
he's
I do think that he is acting mature about it in some way. I don't agree with everything that he has said and done, but that's just on a personal level for me. I just feel
uh,
like since he has submerged himself so deeply that there are some questions that he would want answered by him, his, through his own words. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But at this point, if it
oh,
had have been me, and as far as going and taking legal action, I agree with that. But I also
holy,
agree that
hold on just a second, Sammy. Are you reading this? What Lisa Kruger said? I tried to put up posters, but they just keep taking them down.
I did see that. Yeah. Um,
Sorry. Go ahead.
there's
I'm
there's
sorry.
a lack of respect when it comes to missing posters, as far as posting them where you can post them. But as far as to speak on being, in the position of Seth, I ultimately this is this is me how I would relate to any social media, including YouTube. If you're not doing one thing that helps find my son, I'm not communicating with you, period. And if your journey is going to deviate from that, you're not going to be a part of my circle and I'm not going to communicate with you. I'm sorry, that's just me. That's it. And that's the only way to keep it clean cut.
Right. So, Eddie, as you know, a lot of people have recently, a lot of them have actually turned against Seth. If you had to say one thing, in your opinion, that you witnessed that was the number one factor why people were turning away from the case and with Seth, what would you think that pivot point or what that person or reason would be?
Putting personal info out there that should have never been shared in the first place. Both sides have done it,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
but in my humble opinion, and I can agree with what Cold Casing said, Sebastian being essayed should have never been put out there. Okay, I would not want that out there unless I shared it myself, that it happened to me. That doesn't help anything, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's the only problem I have with that situation is that statement came out, and I know that statement was a targeted attack. I know it
Mhm.
was. And that when you got a missing child, you can't play the blame game. I know you want to, and it's hard not to because the last person to see your son was Katie.
Mhm.
I can understand that. I can understand the questions and not getting answers. And there's a lot of things around this case that has. I'm going to keep certain things to myself because I have opinions, and a lot of people probably won't agree with my opinion, or if they do, yeah, I'm not going to speak on it.
Have you seen any of the Proudfoot interviews?
Seen them all.
So you know the one where she's like, and he wasn't anywhere in the house, and so I jumped in the car and I drove around here and I drove around there, and then um he was already and did the hand motion with the throat thing, right? That same interview.
Yep.
Have okay. Do you think it's odd because by then, whenever she couldn't find him anywhere inside the house, do you think it was a little bit of a leap to be hysterical when she hadn't even checked outside?
Yep.
If you were a parent and you look inside your house, or you say you fall asleep on the couch, take a nap, whatever. If you've got a 15-year-old kid that evidently knew the neighborhood and things like that where he lived, wouldn't you look immediately outside if they weren't in the house before you started to panic?
Yeah, I'd look all around the house first.
Yeah, in the
I would
house
look
and around the
outside,
house.
all over
Yeah.
inside the house, and
Mhm.
then I wouldn't even leave the house.
Right.
I would call 911.
Yep. Me too. Me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is exactly what I would do. Yep. I have to agree with that because that's exactly what I would do. Sammy, what about you?
I think Davy Jones has got a question. He's raising his hand
Oh,
in chat.
sorry, I'm a little behind on chat. If it's someone else, some pleasure might have interesting effects.
He said the way to get the truth in this case is to put pressure on Chris until he breaks.
I believe putting pressure on Kiss on Chris and Katie Proudfoot is exactly what it's going to require. And I think whenever they hand this case over to the FBI, I think that there will be a breaking point. I really, really do. I hope so. Or maybe I'm just a fool and I'm hopeful. But I think that once this case is handed over to
Oh, I thought Davy was raising his hand. I didn't. I didn't know he was waving to the new people coming in. Okay.
I do agree, Davy Jones. I'm alarmed at the scale of the campaign against Seth going on. But I need to speak on something here. These two channels that Seth is going to talk about, let me explain something to you. I used to be a moderator for T Rev 757. for almost 2 years since his very first Kylie Rodney video. I was a member over there until about 4 months ago. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you right now, I watched another creator have some beef with T Rev and the other creator that Seth is going to talk about specifically intentionally come out against that other creator and try to expose them and destroy them because T Rev was exposed in some ways. So I am not completely surprised if there was a romantic relationship, and I think there was. Um, I'm telling y'all right now, everything Athena said is true. And I have my own personal receipts from conversations between people that can validate everything that Athena has said 100%. I also have receipts that whenever T Rev 757 does not get what he wants, he will threaten you if he can. If you don't play his ball game and kiss and make up whenever it affects him in any negative, slight manner, even if you're telling the truth and he's lying, he does not care. He will threaten you if you do not play his ball game. I have proof of that because he did it to me.
I just want
And
to
I watched.
mention here in chat, people are talking about putting pressure on Chris and Katie. That's all great and fine, and maybe that brings results, maybe it don't. But ultimately, even now, consider this from a law enforcement standpoint and an investigative standpoint. Sometimes zero information being given to the parents is also a form of pressure, if you think about it.
I agree with that, David Jones. I think Seth acts consistently as a parent looking for his kid in all of this. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And us putting pressure on the Proudfoots, you guys, I'm sorry, but I could almost laugh about that. Who are we to them? Who are we to them? I mean, we can point out what we see, we can point out red flags, we can be a voice for Sebastian, but really at the end of the day, who are we to the Proudfoots? People that are talking about them that don't even know them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what weight do we hold? I think sometimes maybe we give ourselves too much credit in that respect. I'm saying that on my behalf too. At the end of the day, who are we if these people don't want to talk to us? They ain't got to talk to us. If they want to come on here and talk bad about us, that's what they're going to do. That's their prerogative.
But I really
If
think that a lot of the folks are talking about actually the law enforcement, coming down on them, putting pressure on them. But
they need
sometimes when
to,
you're involved in a situation where you have a family member missing, important information coming to you from law enforcement is vital. And every day that goes by that you don't get contact, even if it means there's to tell you there's no update, you know, you're kind of hanging, waiting for that. And sometimes that in and of itself is pressure too.
yep, it
You know what
is.
also could be telling is to people who talk too much too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And people who every single time add something new to the story. Think about it. The truth's the truth. You don't keep adding to the truth and adding to the truth. When you keep adding to the truth and adding to the truth, you lose the truth and it's just a story, right? Correct?
I agree.
Yeah.
Eventually it becomes a work of fiction, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The truth don't change. So I find it alarming that along the way we have gained pieces of information that really should have been there from the beginning, and not from law enforcement, but from the families. Well, not the families, from Katie and Christopher Proudfoot. And while I'm not sitting here saying these people did something to their kid, although I suspect they may have, very much so, I can see the strain and I can see the angst in the relationship between all of these people and the way they behave now. And I can't imagine if I was living in that situation, I would try my best to get out of it too. If he did run off. What do you guys think about that? Which I don't think he did, because I don't think he left without shoes, but
Well,
you
all
know,
this stuff going on and all the information having come out through them, all of them, just really, it really truly does remove focus from just finding Sebastian. The focus should be that. And I do believe that although some of these details, if they're factual, are important to the investigation, that is none of our business. And we should be focusing on what's helping to find him.
I agree. But at this point, Sammy, can I ask what you think that at this point, what we are able to do really to help in this investigation are? Because we have no facts. I mean, I send out
Well,
flyers,
listen, okay, with
I share a story.
all of this going on, everything has become so blurred. People need to go back to square one, to the child himself,
Hmm.
to all of his details, his age, what he was wearing, when he was last seen, who he was last seen with, and focus on that and keep track
Hmm.
of what has been searched if you're searching, because then you move forward to the next area that you can say you have searched and
Right.
so on and so forth. But as far as, that's the only thing that's actually going to have an impact on him being found is the factual details, because you don't know, maybe he'll still be wearing the same clothes. You don't know. Ultimately, I just feel like us staying focused. Yeah, when it takes a long time, some people tend to, get bored if they're not going to be involved. There's nothing to speak of. You know what the original details are, and that's what you need to stick to. And then start your own search if you're going to, as far as joining his search team, joining this search team or that. Find out what it takes. Be boots on the ground to finding Sebastian, period. That's about all we really truly can be doing to make progress, to say that we are trying to help and keep his name out there. Keep that flyer out there and encourage people to post it everywhere that they can, because those are the key things that are going to matter. You don't know who's going to see that poster, and it might be somebody's neighbor who maybe he's with. You don't know. You just don't know. And as long as we're focused on all this other nonsense, we're not doing the right thing.
I agree. What do you think it's gonna, what do you, okay. Do you think law enforcement has dropped the ball on this case? And if so, what do you think they could have done more to help find Sebastian already?
If I could say they did anything wrong or dropped the ball anywhere, it would be that, um, I'm sorry, but by now I would have already asked the FBI, please take this over, because it's pretty, when you don't find the child and a month goes by, when you don't find a child and 2 months goes by, when you don't find the child and 3 months has gone by, I'm sorry, but somehow, some way, you either don't have the resources you need to get this solved, or you don't know what you're doing. Hand it over.
She's linking it because so people know what interview, where to find this interview with Seth Rogers, Lat, if they want to find it. that it's on Miss Brittany's channel. That's why she's doing it, because the interview we're going over and commentating on and stuff is Brittany did last night. It's actually a really, really, really good interview, by the way. You guys, you should go check it out. The full interview. I'm not going to be sharing the full interview. I just wanted to go over certain
Th-
key aspects of it.
Thank you for having me up, Regina. I got to
Oh,
drop
are you
down and
leaving
take
here?
care of something. And when I'm done with mine and you're still alive, I'll come back up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll
Thank
be
you,
catching it
Eddie.
on replay, Eddie. I usually am. I catch most of my channels on most of my shows on replay now, but
All
I can't
right.
wait to see it.
All
All
right.
right, bye, brother. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Whoops! I almost left the studio by accident. That wouldn't have been no fun. Can y'all hear me? Everything okay?
Yeah, I hear
Yep.
you.
So, yes, Connie, I agree. It's dishonest not to tell them. It's dishonest to put yourself in involvement any shape, form, or fashion in a case if you plan on reporting on it to YouTube, social media, or any other platform, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's me. I'm just going to say I'm not going to roll like that because I would feel dishonest if I did. Maybe that is just me, but that's me. Um, well, that in chat. Yeah, just like grieving parents should be privy to the conversations cops have about their kids. Hmm, interesting. They should not read our stuff either. I agree, Davy. I agree. Chris, Seth, and Katie. Yep. Sebastian. Davy Jones, I agree. It isn't good for their mental health to read or be on YouTube. I agree with that for all parties involved. I think that, yeah, I agree. I think Seth is in the mourning process and doesn't have support at home. Chris and Katie have each other. I agree with that too, Low 12. I do. I do. And she said Chris and Katie are in the mourning process also, and having each other helps them both. I agree with that too. Yes. There's lots of jerks around here. I'd probably go all the way off. One reason is never come to YouTube. People can be cruel. People can be cruel that aren't even a part of the situation towards each other. It's very true. I don't think Chris is mourning anything. Yep. Yep. I know. That is true, Davy Jones. I've seen all of the interviews and she has barely said his name. You're correct. I'd be so hard to reach at and not defend yourself. Be so hard to not reach at. Yeah, I agree with that too, though. Nobody knows unless they are in that situation. Yep. It's been so long already. I have lost hope, sadly. I think a lot of us have lost hope of finding Sebastian alive. Um, we don't know where he is, so there is, that slim statistical chance that he is still alive, and I think we're all praying and hoping for that. But the statistics and the odds are not good. What do you think, Sammy?
Yeah, that's so discouraging. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a really major. That's a problem.
Hey, Tracy, good to see you. And we've also got Jennifer Watkins, Davy Jones, Connie, Lat Harris, Cold Casting. Just giving a shout out to some of you guys. I'm trying to catch up here to the chat. Stephanie Howardson, hello, hello. Good to see you all. You guys, thank you all for coming. And I do have memberships, but I'm not worried about the memberships. If you guys would please be so kind as to like and subscribe, that is the single best way that you can help the channel. And I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. See, but who wouldn't know in 3 minutes that you couldn't find your child? That just seems so quick. Yes, Stephanie Howerton, I agree on that too. A lot of the stuff that they've said doesn't make any sense. The math is not mathing. For me, at least, it's not. For others, it may be mathing, but for me, as a parent of an autistic child, it doesn't add up. It doesn't. Yes, everyone, please also go sign the petition for the FBI to become involved in this missing Sebastian Rogers case. Um, this petition is another one of the best ways that you can help, because once Seth gets so many signatures, he can present it to the district attorney, plus all of our calls in supporting this case being handed over to the FBI, are ways that you really can become involved in this case that doesn't hinder anyone. Who is it going to hurt for the FBI to completely take over this case? Nobody. Nobody, except maybe some people's pride. But honestly, it's been over 100 days since this case has gotten any answers. Nobody knows where that little boy is. There needs to be answers. And who's it going to hurt? Who's it going to hurt if this case is handed over to the FBI?
By the
That's
way,
just,
we're in the middle of an interview done by Brittany J. With
yes.
Seth.
Yes. Are you ready to get back to that? Sorry, I was trying to catch up with chat. Let me get back to this interview.
Whatever you want about me, but when you start talking trash about my son, or you're using pictures of my son and stupid little things for click me bait because you guys want to make money, and when I say you all, I mean everybody who's out there. When my YouTube channel comes out and I sit there and I make people pay for a membership to listen to me give updates, I know that I'm going to receive nothing but negative attention about it. Nothing but negative attention, because Lord knows I'm the child's father. I need to make sure I have flyers. I need more yard signs. I need more materials and more resources. And there's not enough.
Absolutely.
There is not enough until my son comes home. People want to talk about me being at work. That's my personal life. Get over it. You're not going to find out if I'm at work or not. It's none of your business. I've had people infiltrate.
Okay, let me pause right there for a minute. I gotta admit, I'm right there with them. Until Sebastian comes home, you guys, there's never going to be enough. Not for him. Not if you miss your child. Until your child comes home, there's nothing ever going to be enough except for what? Sammy? Except for what?
Well, nothing is enough, you know.
Or your child being home, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the goal is your child, nothing short of that is ever going to satisfy you, is it? Of your child coming home.
Nope.
I agree. I mean, I gotta say I feel the same way on that aspect.
Yep.
Too many to count, Jennifer Watkins. Too many to count. Too many, honey. Too many. Sorry, I just thought I'd comment on that real quick. All right, back to this interview.
My home. I've had people sit there and literally lie and have conversations that you just wouldn't have with a person. Not if you actually had a soul. And to have people come in afterwards and call me on a live chat, and I didn't even know I was live, and start asking me questions about stuff that I had no idea what was going on. That's pretty dirty. All right. And then sit there. I get phone calls from Sumner County and from TBI about everything that's going on. Well, they need to stay in their lane. Don't ask me what I have a civil attorney doing for me. All right. They need to be focused on investigating and finding my son. But every time one of these creators open their mouth, and I say that term very loosely because there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are not creators. All they are is, we'll take what this person did and we'll go over it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
and
right.
I'll tell you right now, They don't, I have no respect for them. I don't. But that's my personal opinion. And I don't care if somebody has respect for me or not. I'm looking for my son. And I said, I will dance with the devil and show the devil a few moves in order to find my son. And that means I'll do whatever I need to do within the limits of the law, because me going to jail doesn't help my son.
Right.
But I will never stop looking for him. And anybody that wants to be an obstacle in my way, I feel sorry for them. Because karma's a bitch. And God will knock them down.
You're right about that. I want to
All
clear
right.
something up with you while you're here. This
And
this
just
is
so
to
you
help
know,
you.
I sent 6 people cease and desist. 6.
6.
Not 50.
Okay.
Yeah,
6.
6. Not 50 like T-Rev is talking about. And I tell you what, anybody that's out here on a YouTube, whether they're a creator or whatever they want to classify themselves at, if they're literally out there spreading Sebastian's case in a positive light, not a negative light. There's enough negativity in this world. People say I start drama. Don't ask me questions that start drama. I'll give you an honest answer. You may not like the fact that I give an honest answer, and other people may not like the fact that I am brutally honest. But it'll even say in one of those declarations that Katie wrote in my divorce that I tell people the truth. And I literally will sit there and state whether it has anything to do with it. And that always used to piss her off. She hated it when I talked about anything that was going on in the house. She was like, that's a random stranger. I've been like, well, I can't talk to you about it. I'm going to talk to a random person that doesn't know anything and bounce the ideas off of them, because they might have the answer. God may say, this is how you should answer this gentleman, and give me the answer, because God works in mysterious ways. That crazy person that's asking for change out there on the street corner, that person could have an answer. The first places that I hit were homeless encampments. I've been
Yeah.
homeless before. Thank you to my ex-wife for making me homeless. Why didn't I give full custody?
Okay, I know there's people out here that wonder what Seth means whenever he says Katie made him homeless. I'm going to explain this to you something as a mother and as someone who knows the law on these things. A lot of these states, if a woman files any kind of restraining order or order of protection against her spouse, whether it is malicious or not, a lot of times that restraining order will be granted. And because you are the mother of that child, you will be given access to the residence. You, as the mother having the child, especially a child in need, if you make a claim against your husband and or order of protection or something is granted, 9 times out of 10, unless like for some magical reason or some other, who knows, but it's very rare that the judge does not give the woman the home with the child. This is also true in most divorce proceedings. The person who has that temporary custody or custodial custody, or the one who doesn't have the claim against them, will be the parent that has the dwelling given to them to live in during the separation. Sammy, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Ultimately, they put the other person out, so therefore he was put out, right?
Right. And I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to there. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Okay. All right. Let's get back to this interview.
I was homeless, living in a vehicle. I praised God every day. I got joint custody. Do you think I wanted full custody? Without a doubt, I should have my son living with me right now. But yet I'm still a suspect of my son's disappearance. You guys don't know what kind of effect that has on a person's psyche. To know that I'm getting phone calls from law enforcement about me sending out cease and desist from my attorney who is doing her job.
Okay, I got to pause it right there for a minute, too. There is a separation of interest between a civil litigation action and a investigation, or albeit a criminal investigation, if that's what this is. Why would Sumner County be interested in any civil litigation that Seth Rogers is taking? Where does that interest come from?
It's
Who
beyond
in
me.
this? Right. Now think about it. Someone would have had to have reported it. Someone had to have called TBI and said, look, I got this cease and desist letter from Seth Rogers. Why would you report that to Sumner County? That's not even their jurisdiction. It's a civil matter. Are people so oblivious or so self-entitled that they think that we have the right to report someone for sending us a cease and desist letter? What's going on? I don't get it. I do not understand this. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And what stake would someone have in this case to call TBI and report Seth Rogers for a cease and desist letter, which is well within his legal rights, by the way? What do you think, Sammy? I mean, it confuses me. I'm confused.
I think people are just being stupid. I think that somebody trying to call TBI or anybody else to report somebody having served them should be ashamed of themselves, period. They have a situation they need to be dealing with and acknowledging. Just plain stupid.
I think it's petty, but that's just my opinion. Not only that, but I really just like from the legal standpoint of it. TBI literally has no jurisdiction over a civil matter that doesn't even involve them. Or, for that matter, neither does the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. But really, they don't. I find it odd that someone reported it, and I find it odd that they paid any value to it, if that makes sense. Okay, back to the interview.
Because she wants to make sure that people in the legal system know that these people do not represent me, and therefore they have been sent a cease and desist.
So law enforcement did not want you to send out those letters?
No, law enforcement has called me about them because everybody's up in arms that I sent out a cease and desist. Some of these people live right there in Sumner County. 3 of them do. T-Rev lives there. Klumati lives there. And so does T-Rev's girlfriend. I'm not even going to speak her name. She ain't worth it.
Whoa.
All 3 of them live there. And you know what? T-Rev has never showed up for a search. Oh, he bought hot dogs and buns. Appreciate it, buddy. I didn't appreciate everything else you did, like taking a picture of me while I was in my recliner in my house, stepping into my sanctuary and violating my sanctuary. Because not only did you violate my sanctuary, but this is also my son's sanctuary. I didn't appreciate that. Klumati showed up for, one search, only one search. And she acted all nice and friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Introduced herself by her name, not by her, never once told me that she was a YouTubist, none of that sort of stuff. But I treated her like a regular researcher. Hi, thank you. I appreciate your help. And then she turns around and plays,
Let's do a poll real quick. Hold on a second. Put a 1 in chat if you think it is unprofessional to go search for a child as a YouTuber, and you're going to be reporting on the story, or you are reporting on the story of one of these missing people, and you go to help search and you interact with a relative of these family members, do you think that you should tell them that you are going to report on this case and you're a YouTuber? Put a 1 in chat if you think that you should. Put a 2 in chat if you think that you shouldn't disclose that you are someone covering this case that's a YouTuber. One if you think you should tell them. 2 if you think they shouldn't.
So far, the majority are ones.
I was waiting on a 2, but I don't think we're going to get one. I agree with all of you. From a professional standpoint, as someone that covers true crime, I think we should always tell family members our intentions, tell them that we are covering the case, and let them know that we are going to report on things in the case involving them during our time around them, because it should be their right to choose who they let around them. And unless you know who someone is that comes in and is going to cover this case, and you don't know who that person is that's a YouTuber and covers true crime, exactly. You don't know who you're talking to or what you're dealing with. And I believe that this disclosure was an intentional discrepancy on that YouTuber's part. I think it was very intentional.
Well, you got to kind of remember too, when you're happening up on a situation or a case that you want to cover, even if you're just exploring the possibilities, if there's anything there for you to cover, because that is ultimately what YouTubers do, right? We're looking for content. You would want to approach someone within that case or that space to say, hey, look, I'm here to help you get information out. If you feel the need to contact me or let me know. And that opens that door so that they're understanding that you are a YouTuber and what your intent is. And just kind of leave the ball in their court. I think it's the only appropriate way to approach any of this.
Me too. It's the professional way to do it, especially, in my opinion. Just want to give a shout out to Dawn Michelle. Hello and welcome. Good to see you. Island High. Good to see you too. Rake's Funny Farm. Good to see you guys. I'm glad you all made it. I see you. I see you, Nurse Nancy. That's a fun one. I like that, Nurse Nancy.
And
Oh,
I also want to remind YouTubers, these people that you're approaching half of the time, majority of the time, are in a very stressful situation, probably the most stressful situation they've ever experienced in their life. There's a chance they're never going to remember your face or what you said because there's too much going on. So why not wear some of your own gear that states exactly who you are and what you're there for? You know what I'm saying? Just a suggestion.
that's a very good suggestion. But really, if you're going to be taking part of someone else's story, shouldn't you tell them who you are to begin with? I mean,
Well,
if you're
that's
going
what
to
I'm
play,
saying. But
right,
there's so much going on in their mind. Typically, you're going to come across people that are so stressed out, that they're probably not even going to remember a word you said because they have too many really vital, important things on their mind at that moment. Therefore, if you're running around with a t-shirt that says what your channel is, they'll know you're a YouTuber. I'm just saying it helps.
Right, but
I'm not
Seth said,
trying
but
to
Seth
be all,
said not only
know,
did she, but Seth apparently not only was she not wearing merch, but she gave her her real name, and didn't even tell him that she was a YouTuber.
right, right, right.
Like,
And that's the thing. That's like if your YouTube is not named after what you're going, like you're not going by your name on your YouTube. Well, that's why I suggest gear. Only because not to be gimmicky, but to be representing, and that person might then be able to remember, hey, that person's a YouTuber. I want to go get them and I want to talk to them because there are some important things I want said right now, which means my son is this age, this tall, he has this, he was seen here, he's been missing, blah blah blah, whatever. Do you see what I mean? So it's not about being gimmicky, but because you want for them to know. It just gives that opportunity for everyone to come together. And it's going to be hard for them to remember some person walking. Can you imagine how many people have
nope,
their devices out that are recording? I mean, come on.
I wouldn't personally be recording if I was helping search for someone.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean, there are people that do. I'm just
There
saying.
are people that do. I agree.
You know,
There are people that do. Me personally, I'm going to be actually more focused on the search and the person that I'm looking for, because if I'm messing with my camera gear or checking batteries or wondering why it's not recording or this, that, or the other, I'm not really helping search, am I?
right?
But I think if you are going to play a role in this case in any social media uh, platform, that if you're going to go to these parents and these individuals and play an active role in it, that you should tell them who you are. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
At least tell them, because even if you aren't wearing merch, Sammy, here's the thing I'm getting at. If you go tell, if you go to one of these searches and you tell that parent, I'm a member of social media, I have this YouTube platform, they may respectfully choose to tell you certain things or not tell you certain things, because you are going to be relaying everything in the public eye. And whenever you take it on a personal level and you go to these people on a personal level and you interact with them, I don't think it's fair to not inform them that you are going to be reporting everything back to the public eye. I think there should be a level of discrepancy, regardless. If you tell a person, "Hey, I'm a YouTuber," and they don't want to tell you something, they're going to remember that you're a YouTuber and not tell you what they don't want to tell you.
Well, being transparent is vital. It gives you the beginning of your reputation to begin with.
Right. I agree. Being transparent is vital. 100%. Okay. A lie by omission. Hmm. All right. Let's get back to the interview.
Oh, I want to be number 6 on CP's list of marriage or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. People want to talk trash about me, but people want to look at me and tell me I'm trash and that I'm despicable because I have what an opinion, an
No,
attitude.
no, you don't
My
deserve.
son is missing.
Exactly.
Okay,
One thing I do notice in this interview is, regardless of whether anyone wants to admit it or see it, and I'm not speaking bad about Seth, but it is very apparent in this interview that I have picked up on, he has unchecked baggage with Katie. I will say that. I will say that. There is an underlying animosity from their time together as a married couple. Absolutely. There is. Um, and I understand that. I understand that because they have a child, or they have a child together, first of all, and they were separated and divorced. She has moved on with her life. Things were not good when they separated, but I don't think that Seth is fully um I don't think he has fully worked through whatever feelings he has for Katie still, and I think that's apparent in this interview, in my opinion. I would just like to say that. What do you think, Sammy?
I'm not gonna comment. I mean, he's hurting, you know. I
Right,
know.
right, right, right. I agree with that. Yep. I do hope I do, and he did. He said the other night he was talking to someone, but I hope counseling is helping him right now because I can't imagine the grief he's going through. To be honest with you, I know I dang sure need somebody to talk to.
Nobody who's never been in my position has the right to tell me anything. All right.
I agree.
Those that do have been in this position, I've spoken to, and I get different opinions from other people. And people want to, you need to get rid of this person on your team. No, I get rid of people that I watch their activities, I watch their actions, I listen to their words. And when actions and words don't meet up, something is wrong. I've always been a person that explains to my son that anybody can say anything, but your actions will speak louder to your words. What CP did to my son is horrific. My son cleans his room. Why? Because I use logic with him. Sebastian, you can't find this toy. You know why you can't find this toy? Because I had to come and clean up your room while you were gone. Now, if you clean up your room and you put things back, when you come back in here, you will know where everything is.
Okay, I got to speak on this because, as most of you know, I have an autistic child. He is 19 years old. And the one thing, and this is not just a kissy kissy, let's praise Seth fest, but I have an autistic child. And I happen to know for a fact that uh, becoming angry or disciplining a child who is autistic when you're angry or whipping them or any of that, it does not do them any good. Whenever you are even angry with an autistic child and you show any kind of anger towards them in any way, whether it's yelling or even, huffing and puffing from across the room, it is going to stress that child out. It is going to make it to where that child cannot even think about what you are trying to tell them. They don't communicate on the same level that we do with our emotions. And it will trigger them and it will put them over the edge, and you will accomplish nothing with that child. So I agree with Seth. What Chris Proudfoot did to Sebastian was horrendous. It was horrific. And I'm not talking about what could, did, or didn't happen to Sebastian. I'm talking about what we know he did, what Chris Proudfoot did to Sebastian. That is wrong. Whipping a child with a belt is no different than whipping them with a whip. It is literally the same concept. Period. End of story, in my opinion.
You've put it in its special spot.
Exactly.
You didn't make him clean it up and go take his things to the trash, right? Make him throw his
Hell no.
things away. Yeah,
You know,
that's
this might be seen kind of selfish, but I'm a parent. I'm on a limited income because I work for the county. All right. I make 50,000 a year. I work 12-hour shifts and I deal with murderers and inmates that I believe can change.
absolutely.
All right. And I treat them like they're human beings
Yeah.
because I expect them to change. Are my sights set too high? Probably. But that's not for me to judge. I'm there to make sure they're safe while they're in jail before they go to prison. All right. I have a badge. I'm supposed to uphold that badge. I don't hide behind that badge. I am the representation of what the badge is supposed to be: honor, integrity, courage, commitment. Only I can do that. I've
Mhm.
had inmates, oh, you hide behind the badge. No, I'm the same person when you see me at Walmart in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, grabbing a gallon of milk and orange juice to go home so that my son has milk and orange juice to drink. Pick him up whatever he wants, to cook for dinner or whatever he wants me to cook for breakfast, so on and so forth. I work when my son is here with me. I work with him so that everything in this house is his. He knows what is his. He has to have room to grow. You cannot sit there and keep somebody trapped in a cube and expect them to grow. That does not work.
Absolutely. 100%.
People want to give me grief for how I raised my son. Well, I am sorry. I didn't think I should take him out on the street corner and pick a fight with somebody and show him what a real beating was. Yes, did I tell my son I was going to bust his butt? Sure did. Did I use that exact verbiage? Probably not. Hello? I'm a first-time parent. It's a never-ending, everyday learn something new.
Yeah.
So I used a video game, which is better than watching an R-rated movie with a bunch of people being shot and having heads cut off, or things like that. No, I took a video game that we have played and I put the blood mode on so you can actually see it, because before there was none. I turned it off. He doesn't need to see all that. But yet I get criticized, and most of these people that criticize me don't even have kids.
Yeah. I honestly don't hold that.
I have never once said I was perfect, nor will I ever say I am perfect. Sebastian, my son, may think that I walk on water, and I never want to lose that. I never want to lose that, because that means I'm
No,
his hero.
that's right. You're right. And you don't deserve
Have
to
I
have.
failed my son? Oh,
Mhm.
yes. I am my worst critique ever. None of
Oh,
these people
bless
I
you.
hear saying anything can make me feel worse than I already am,
Oh,
until they
Seth.
sit there and start talking about my son being a sexual offender or any of that. My
So,
son was
hey,
with
Okay, let me pause it right there. As a parent with a missing child and Seth not being there, I know personally that whether I had something to do with my child missing or not, would feel guilty that they were missing because I wasn't there to protect my child. If you would feel that guilt the same way, could you guys put a 1 in chat for me? I just want to see if you guys are feeling the same way I would feel in that situation. I do too, Davy Jones. I do too. You don't look for something that's not lost to you, right? Don Mitchell, I agree too. Yep. Everything discussed here is allegedly and are speculations unless heard by law enforcement. Absolutely, absolutely low 12. Low 12. All I know is Sebastian wasn't seen leaving that house. I wish law enforcement would clarify that. I agree. Island High says, why would he run barefoot too? It's automatic. We put something on our feet when we step out that door unless we know we are coming right back. Exactly, Island High. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. Okay.
me all last
Yeah.
on the Christmas break. Faith wasn't here. I saw that rumor going out there. Sebastian was with me before Faith even got here. So people need to shut that rumor up.
We
All right.
did. Trust me. We have fought diligently to
That's
make
my
sure that
15-year
that's
old
not
kid
true.
that's missing.
That's right. And that should have never come out of anybody's mouth. And believe you me, here and in a lot of places I know, Seth, it won't be spoken, and we shut it down. That there's nothing to even that
But
is ever.
there are YouTubers out here that promote that stuff. They got cease and desist because they're nasty and vile things.
Well, that they had playing up to Christopher Proudfoot. They wanted him on panel because they're getting the views from him being there because he acts like such an ass.
Yep.
You know, we could all act like an ass, and that there's nobody.
As much as I hate to agree with that statement, because I would hope that YouTube would be a place where people would discuss facts and use reason and rationality and not throw mud at each other. Sadly, the truth is most of these channels that do this are the ones that are watched the most. And it's heartbreaking though to see it affect people who are dealing with this kind of grief, period. It's difficult to see them hurt even further in their moment of grief by our actions completely. Davy Jones says, Low 12, the last sighting by anyone besides Katie was at the restaurant and the video of them leaving. That is correct. That is the last confirmed that we know of. Last sighting was him getting into the car on that cam. Yep. Davy Jones, I agree. I couldn't make out the video to the garage can that night. Ellie needs to have a press conference to clarify. I absolutely do agree that they need to come out if they have any proof that Sebastian ever made it home, because I know that's been a question on everyone's mind. And also, I think that's important with the search for Sebastian, because if for some reason he didn't make it home, we need to know where he was whenever he was last with Katie, because that's the area that needs searched, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know everything. But in my opinion, if he did not make it to that house, then law enforcement needs to come out and say that. No, Davy, we really haven't. All they've told us is that it is an investigation. That's it. That's it. Connie said, in my opinion, never made it home. All right, let's get back into it.
In this world that can't act like one. But what it comes down to is that he's not looking for Sebastian. His family's not looking for Sebastian. His own mother, Sebastian's own mother, is not looking for Sebastian.
It's insane. It's craziness. To get in a camper, and go 3.5 hours away from your house with your child missing.
Well, come on. It's 3 hours and 37 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you. How foolish of me. You're exactly right. That was.
Again, I know I've already said this in another live stream, but I would also like to point out for everyone, in order for Chris Proudfoot to be involved, he did not have to drive 3.5 hours. He only had to drive the distance that Katie would not have driven to meet him. He could have driven an hour one way. Katie could have driven 2.5 hours and met him somewhere in the middle. Do you understand? Does that make sense, Sammy?
Yeah.
Okay. I would just like to point that out because, again, as we've seen these interviews with these family members, Chris Proudfoot was so gung-ho to say it takes 3 hours and 37 minutes to drive from doorstep to doorstep. Remember that. Because he was enforcing the idea that he couldn't have been involved because he was 3.5 hours away. Well, you don't have to be 3.5. You don't have to drive the full 3.5 hours if someone else meets you partly in the middle. Would you agree with that, Sammy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Back to the video.
Let's break this down because Lord help us. we may or may not get stuck behind a semi on Route 40.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, that it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid just
It is.
because nothing is ever finite. Everything is infinite. There's no, it takes 3 minutes to do this. That's bullshit. You ask anybody, there's too many holes in their stories.
Oh, it's
Mhm.
just incredible. It's
I know
incredible.
where I was at, and it really upsets me that they haven't cleared me. They
Yeah.
have literally pulled over a year of my phone records. They have taken all the electronics. Yeah, I want my son to have his stuff back. I want my son to be found and walk into his room and it
Yeah.
be set up just like it was when he went missing, so that he can start readjusting back to life.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. And
Mhm.
if nobody has an autistic child, then they don't know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Brandon,
But
can I
my
say
son, when he
something?
came home,
Hold on.
he would walk into
Mhm.
his room and everything is left just like he picked it up and put it.
Yep. That's his comfort. That's his
That's his
comfort.
sanctuary within our sanctuary. And what's funny is he doesn't, when he's at my house, he spends more time in the recliner than he does in his own room because he'd rather be out here in the living room where I am than in his room like he is at his mom and Chris's. He stays in his room there.
Yeah.
Here, he lives in my shitty 2 bedroom with a garage, 900 square foot place that I pay rent for. That my rent has increased since I moved here in October of 2020. My rent has gone from 700 to over $1,000, and I don't move because he is used to this.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
He has his own room.
I
He
want to
has
say
his own.
something on your behalf about that real quick, okay? Because I'm tired of everybody saying everything you say has something to do with money. No, what he's saying is he's willing to rip himself off by not finding something cheaper because he
Or
wants his
bigger.
child to have a home that he is safe and he yeah. I have a child on the spectrum too, Seth. So I get what
So you
I
know
get.
how it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to phrase that in my own words because I don't completely agree with the way Brittany said it, even though I see what she's getting at and I agree with her on this. But what he's saying is he is willing to pay more extra in rent every month just so Sebastian can feel comfortable and not feel pressured in a big change like a move or something like that. So instead of moving and finding cheaper rent, he is willing to pay more for the same place he has been for Sebastian's comfort. Would you agree with that?
I think it speaks to him trying to keep and to create and keep a stable environment for his son.
Hey, Journey, good to see you. Good to see you. Sorry, Sammy. What I was totally reading. I seen that thing pop up, the new one, and I got distracted. You know, I have attention span of a gnat. What'd you just say?
Well, ultimately, it speaks to the fact that Seth has created and tried to maintain a stable environment for his child.
I do agree. That's what he was working on. I do agree with that. It seems like it. It really does. It seems like it. And of course, I'm not there. I'm not on, I'm not on the inside. I have no ties to these people, and I don't know what's really going on in their everyday lives, and I cannot speak on that. But from what I have seen, I do think that Seth was trying to make this change as smooth as possible for Sebastian. I really do. And I think he was taking initiative in Sebastian's life. And I do think that the animosity between him and Katie and Chris um was probably not good for Sebastian, but I'm not 100% sure that the animosity between the three of them is why Sebastian would have ran. Um I don't But I got to be honest with you. I don't think Sebastian left on his own accord either. I don't see it. And I could be wrong. He might have walked out that door. God knows if he did walk out that door, anything could have happened. But I'm with. I have to agree. There are too many holes in the stories, and there's no proof that he did. And that in itself alarms me that there's no proof that he walked out that door. That bothers me. So I agree, Sammy. I do. I really do. Okay. What time is it? Hold on just a second. I'm getting all choked up. I need something to drink. Um, I'm going to go back into the interview. I'm going to cut it off at 1 hour and 55 minutes or 56 minutes. So we got another 5 minutes. And then I'm going to finish this deep dive into this interview tomorrow because there is a lot more that I want to get to. So, but we're almost at the 2 hour mark. So I'm going to do 5 more minutes of the interview and then we're going to talk. And then I'm going to have to get out of here. My kids are home and everything. And I need to, it's late. We need to get dinner and stuff. So, okay, here we go.
Yes, I do.
Change is constant, but if you can limit what little change,
Yes.
then it does them so well.
Yes. And then when he comes home to you, he's home where everything's where you left it for. I understand. Yes. More than you know. And I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I tell you, it
I
grips
tell you
my
what,
heart.
if I get my son back, I don't care. I'll go through even more. But I want my son. I want him found. I want him returned home to me. And all these people out here, I hope like hell you never have a child and have to go through anything resembling what I'm going through. Not even for 30 minutes. Been over 100 days. For me, it's been even longer because it's been 7 more days.
So sorry, Seth. So sorry.
And it's just there's evil people out there. There's people that are negative naysayers, ones that just love to start drama. Well, you ask questions and I answer questions. And the questions you ask are meant to start drama. And I can't help that I answer questions. But if I don't answer the questions, I can't win for losing. And I'm not trying to win anything. I'm just trying to find my son.
Seth, I just want to tell you one thing. I am with you 100%. And I know that you love your son. I know that you are 100% into finding your son. I'm not, from the very start, that's how I felt. And I am not going to change my mind.
Hmm. I need to ask you this because I want to clear this up. It's been going around that you are asking for money for interviews. Can you clarify if that is true or not?
I Nobody's giving me nothing for interviews.
There you go.
Wow.
I didn't even go to CrimeCon because I was out searching that day. I couldn't see myself going and being around people instead of not being out trying to find my kid.
This is crazy, man.
Yeah, there's probably been some really good resources for me there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But you know that most of those people that were there, except for some of the FBI agents, I have their phone numbers. I could call them
Yeah.
because they've already reached out to me. I just didn't see the point of being there.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I'll tell you, you weren't even there, and people were already losing their mind that you were. So it probably is a good thing that you didn't go. It's ridiculous. This is what YouTube is. It's
nuts.
it's nuts. And when you
You
have
know,
grievance, oh, it makes me so mad.
for the longest, people have been drilling this into my head for a couple months now. YouTube is social media, but when I opened up my first YouTube account back in the 2000s, it was to listen to music. People,
Yeah.
it was just watch music videos, do it yourself.
How many of you remember whenever you came to YouTube to watch music videos? Put a one in the chat. That's true, Journey to Justice. Many people don't move or change their phone numbers when they have a missing loved one. Correct. That would be the feasible, most believable uh, action to take if you were truly missing someone, wouldn't it? You would stay put and probably leave everything the same that they knew if you were expecting them to come home, wouldn't you? That's the whole thing. Do you think that, Sammy, do you think that the Proudfoots are expecting Sebastian to come home?
I really don't. Not from the start, uh, based on their actions. Sorry, but that's just the way it seems to me. It's my personal opinion, and I think they're more concerned about personal preservation than they are finding their son.
I agree with that. I agree with that. All right, I'm going to let this play for one more minute. I'm going to let it play to the 1 hour and um, 30 minutes. So I'm going to finish this minute out.
Videos. There wasn't all this stuff that's on it now. So yeah, I never really classified this as social media. To me, MySpace, that was social media. A lot better than Facebook because at least you had to know how to code. And I had a MySpace. I've had Facebook too, but it's just horrible.
It
You
is.
know, it's
Yeah.
it's been years. It's been years since I had a Facebook. I used my Facebook account to save videos of Sebastian and pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. I did the same thing. Whenever I first found what Facebook was, like the first thing I realized is I didn't run out of memory storing all of my pictures and stuff to Facebook. Back whenever I first started my account and it was private, um, I took it off private once I felt like both my kids were old enough um, that they wouldn't be in immediate danger, even though I realized we're all in danger at any time. I felt like it was less of a threat to them as they weren't quite as young. Whenever I made my Facebook public, um, but yeah, that's what my Facebook originally was. It was just a place for me to store pictures and videos. So I'm right there with him. What about you, Sammy? Have you ever used a social media platform for the free data storage?
I never paid attention to that, but I use it for my creepy, googly, woogly, woo woo stuff.
Right. Connie says, I started with true crime Kylie Rodney. I remember that case. I remember that case. I got to be honest, stuff doesn't completely add up in the Kylie Rodney case, but I do believe that even though nobody was held accountable, and it is likely that she did um, sadly perish to drunk driving, I think that the people that should have been held accountable were the people that contributed to a minor that led to her death. And we all know who that was. So, yeah. Right. Hello, allegedly innocent. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. You guys, also, big news. We are less than 40 members away from having our first 1,000 subscribers. So I hate to sound like a broken record here, but if you guys haven't hit the like and subscribe and you do appreciate what I'm doing here, It is a free and fantastic way to support the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you are interested in becoming part of our Discord chat, we do have a Discord for members only. Um, I will repost the link. If anyone does join the membership, I will repost the link for the Discord on the memberships page. But we greatly appreciate your support, everyone. We truly do. And you just being here in itself is greatly appreciated. But I would doubly appreciate it all the same more if you could hit that thumbs up and subscribe for me, and maybe even share if you're feeling froggy. You know what I'm saying? So, um, let's see. Where are we at? Okay, we got 30 more seconds. Okay.
Because I had hard drives fried on me and I lost pictures. And I was like, I need someplace digital. You know what? I can use my Facebook profile and just make it private and nobody can see it.
Yeah.
And I saved pictures there. I've got pictures of me and Sebastian at the zoo, videos of me and Sebastian at the zoo watching the piranhas eat because that's what he wanted to do. So we had to make sure that we were one of the first ones into the zoo. We had to make sure that we had gotten all the way over to the fish area in there before they fed them, because they fed them at the same time, every morning. And we literally, and we were there to watch all of like 15 seconds of them devour this huge chunk of meat. And he was
Oh
like,
my
that was
goodness.
awesome. And I couldn't even
I
I
love
couldn't
it.
even get my phone up, which was one of these old flip phones, to record it fast enough before they devoured it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you want some pictures of you next to the piranha? He was like, sure.
He loved the
And then
piranhas. Bless his little heart.
Oh,
and then off to watch the snakes, off to sit there and look at all the other animals, you know?
alrighty. I think that's a good place to end it on. Something good about Sebastian. Something good that happened in his life that he enjoyed. I think that's a fair note to stop on there for the night. I am going to be digging into this interview even deeper tomorrow. Shout out to Allegedly with Brittany J. She did a really, really good job, you guys, in this interview. I think that she gave Seth the opportunity to speak. I appreciate the questions that she asked, and I think she did really good on her interview. And if you would like to go check out Allegedly with Brittany yourselves, I highly suggest it. Um, the link to this video is in the description below. And you guys don't forget to comment and stuff on the video. Um, we appreciate your feedback. We like to know where you guys stand with these cases and what you think. Um, I have seen a lot of good things come out of the true crime community. And while there is a lot of squabbling and fighting and drama going on in the true crime community, there are also channels out here that I do feel like are trying to really do the right thing by the family members and the children and the victims and the people that are missing and everyone involved. And I think that it's very important that we support those channels. And I also think it's important for us to support channels that challenge what we think. It's not just all one sided, you know? Um, again, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is missing. He disappeared on February the 26th of 2024. He is a 15-year-old white autistic boy with brown hair, brown eyes. He's 5'5". He weighs 120 pounds. If you have any information about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, please call TBI at 1615-451-3838. Sammy, was there anything you'd like to add for the night?
I think you
I
hit
love that.
everything. I think you hit everything spot on.
Wow. Well, I think you were pretty right in almost everything you said too. I mean, we have to take into account these people, even though we are taking a peek into their lives, you guys. They're going through this, all of them. And whether you think the Proudfoots are innocent or guilty, guess what? Right now, they're going through something. If they're innocent, they are going through the most atrocious time in their lives. If they don't know where Sebastian is, they're going through the hardest thing they ever went through in their lives. But there's a flip coin to that too. If they did something to Sebastian, they're going through the hardest time of their lives because they are sitting there wondering when it's all going to catch up to them. I promise you. I know I would be. What about you, Sammy?
Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I couldn't imagine having harmed my own child or anyone else to begin with. But let me say, I want to say this. Remember this as creators. Yes, we want to find out everything we can find out to try to help. I get that. But at the same time, it's up to us to focus on what's being, we're not entitled to personal information of anybody's. We're not their parent or legal guardian. So people need to back off with that. But ultimately, if you want to help in any situation for anyone missing, it's really important to focus on the facts that have been given by law enforcement and pay attention to details that might change when they are released by law enforcement. I know we're not getting any info here, and it's all the same old stuff from the very first day, and I get it. But it's up to us as a community to be the eyes and ears to help law enforcement, not to hinder, not to harm, and not to cause all this drama. Just saying.
Well, Harris, you better lock them doors if you did that. He's trying to bring a little humor into it. He said, I reported my neighbor to the city for not cutting his grass. I'm locking my doors. You better.
Oh my God.
Okay. So before we end, I got one more little funny thing. Sammy, you know this joke, so you know how to play it along so I can tell everybody else this joke. I've already told it to you.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I accidentally hit a button. Oh, there it goes. Um, First of all, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And again, broken record thing, please hit that like and subscribe. It is the best way to help support the channel if you appreciate what I'm doing here. If not, maybe one day, hopefully, I'll be able to put content up that you can agree with. And I still appreciate you being here. So, Sammy,
Yep.
did I tell you what happened in my town?
What?
Did I tell you what happened in my town at the Taco Bell?
Oh no. No.
No. Okay. Well, there was a murder, and they said it was a serial killer
Well, how did they know it was a serial killer?
because there was milk everywhere. I had to share that joke with you guys.
Thank
Um,
you. That was funny.
my dad told me that joke of all people. I was like, that is such a dad joke. I love it. So I just had to share it with all you guys.
Gotta
Um,
love
yeah. Went canoeing the other day also with my dad. That was fun. That was real fun. My brother fell off the canoe. It was hilarious. And I got some bad news, you guys. I'm just going to be asking for prayers for the middle of us kids. My little brother William. Um, he he got diagnosed with small cell lung cancer, and he said he's not going to do treatment and stuff. So just we all know where that leads to, and I'm just asking for prayers because I also believe that God is capable of anything. So I'm asking for prayers for my brother and for my peace of mind and understanding during this time because this is not easy. And I've kind of been avoiding going live myself and stuff because, um, like, I knew, you know, um, that people would wonder why I've not been live and everything. And I'm not fully okay with all of this but I am still going to try to keep getting good content out there for all of you guys. And I'm just asking for prayers. There's nothing else we can do. It's in God's hands, but I'm asking for prayers, if that's all
I'll
right.
definitely say some prayers for y'all, and I'm really, truly, deeply sorry that y'all are having to go through this. It's a really hard pill to swallow. I'm
It really is. Me and him are like literally a year apart. Um, So we grew up close, we've been through the same things, and it's hard to fathom. I can't talk. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, I can't grasp it.
It's
You
all
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
So, but asking for prayers on that, and you guys, for all of you, always I keep you in my prayers and blessings, and I appreciate you. And also, if I could one more time, get one of my lovely mods to put up Eddie's link again. Um, Eddie deals with his channel is called All Things Serious, and he deals with a lot of mental health issues. And he is very good at listening, and he is also very good at keeping confidence. And I highly recommend him as a friend. And if you're part of his channel or you're someone that goes over there, he doesn't know a stranger. And I highly recommend him. That's the reason, because he deals with a lot of mental health issues, that I wanted his opinion on the things that were happening tonight with this case, with the interview with Seth Rogers and stuff. So give him a look up. Um, and again, thank you to Allegedly with Brittany for this interview. Great job. I think you did a good job of letting Seth speak. And you guys, tomorrow sometime I will be going live. I haven't got it set in stone yet what time, but we will be going live to cover the rest of this interview with Seth's part. So be on the lookout for it and hit that like and subscribe. Sammy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
You
you, and
are
thank you all for being here.
You are amazing. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Low 12, Lat Harris, and Connie S. Best mods on YouTube, or on my channel. Y'all know I love you. Y'all are the best. They do so much. So you guys remember to give a good shout out to the mods to thank them for all they do, keeping the chat clean, keeping things friendly, keeping everything right. They do an awesome, awesome job. And with that said, you guys, in the wise words of Crystal, who is not here with us at this time, share a smile and save a life. You never know when that life just might even be your own. And treat each other with kindness. Life's too short not to get something rewarding out of it. And I think all of us, can get a reward out of smiling over helping another person if we just do it. So lock your doors and windows, stay vigilant. It's crazy out here in these streets. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And with that, friends, blessings and good night.